When Colton Shreve hopped on a flight to Japan, he was expecting some crowds. But nothing like this.
Yeah, I've
From
been
a
hearing
Buddhist
about
temple
this.
to a market, just trying to get down the street.
That
It's
shit's
like
crazy.
straining the local structure a bit. It's just filled with people like I'm stuck in LA traffic at rush hour.
LA? It's 10 times worse than LA, bro. 100%
I
it's
was like, wow,
the
like line's not
traffic
even
is
moving. And this is insane. I've never seen anything like that.
Around the world, more and more scenes like these playing out.
Domestic travel has fallen slightly, but international travel remains going gangbusters. And every year since the pandemic, we've seen that explosive growth in tourism, especially the most popular destinations. So we're talking Rome, we're talking Paris, talking London. Now Tokyo's in the mix. But the other thing I think is the spread of social media. You want to show off where you've been,
Right.
all the things
Exactly.
you've done, and sort of get that iconic photo.
exactly. This is kind of like we're still kind of coming off of this wave of post-COVID tourism, and I was actually part of it. I actually went to Japan maybe a year and a half ago. I don't know how long, a year and a half ago maybe, and shit ton of tourists, and it was just a lot of it comes from like people posting and sharing it on social media, and the need of wanting to get out of their homes. You know, everybody wanted to leave. Everybody was cooped up in their houses. I'm sure they probably saved up money because of like all the stimulus checks, unemployment checks, and you know, they're fortunate enough to make money from home, and now they had the luxury of spending all this money by going traveling. And then it just created this kind of this wave of like adventure and social media posts and discovering new locations outside of their hometown. And you know, a year or not 2 years ago, I went to Japan myself, and there was just a shit ton of tourists, and it was beautiful, it was amazing. But the downside of it is that people don't treat the country that they're in as if it's like, well, they don't treat it like their own country, and they don't take care of it. And one thing that kind of like really like just gets me is like when people don't do research about the country they're going to in order to have like some preconceived notion of how they need to conduct their behavior in that specific country that they're going to, right? Because when they're in that country, every country has its own laws. Maybe even learn some of the language, learn how to say please and thank you and I don't know, food, toilet, or something like that, because that's going to go a long way. They're going to respect you a whole lot more. And then see what laws there are, like, oh, you can't litter, or you can't do this, or you can't, you know. It's just basic human decency that can go a long way. But people they don't care to do that. They just see it as a little vacation spot that they want to take pictures, show it off, and treat it like their own little Disneyland or whatever. And then it just created this explosion of tourism that now everybody's just flooding these popular sites, and it's just, they're getting littered, they're getting trashed, and they're just, you know, taking advantage of the people.
Because of tourists, overwhelming infrastructure, and some locals are fed up. At the world-renowned Louvre Museum in June, tourists stranded in long lines after workers staged a walkout to protest what they say is overcrowding and understaffing. And across Europe, anti-tourism demonstrations making headlines.
One of the horrible effects of over-tourism is what it does to the local communities. It raises prices for food, it raises prices for transportation, and of course for housing, because locals are being driven out by home sharing processes and things like that. But it also
like
adds
Airbnb?
to congestion and pollution. So there is a balancing act that has to be done here. Tourism is the main driver of the economy in a lot of these places.
Residents in Naples, Italy, marching against short-term rentals and the impact on neighborhoods.
So going back to what you're saying, it's true. It's like you got to think about like, where do you draw the line, or like what is acceptable and what's not acceptable, or how do you even balance it? Because a lot of these places, their economy is, a lot of it's based on tourism. Like Paris, many parts of Italy, especially Rome. When I went to Italy, I went to Cinque Terre. I went to the Amalfi Coast, and like some of these cities, they're like seasonal. They only open during a certain season because that's where the tourists are going to come, and they're going to waste their money, and they're going to get that money into the economy. So it's like, at the same time, it's like you're complaining about it, but at the same time, you won't be able to eat without it, or you're gonna be missing quite a bit of money.
Locals taking to the streets of Lisbon, Portugal, asking for more rights.
Cada vez as pessoas que moramos na cidade sentimos mais que não é uma cidade para quem vive e trabalha nela, senão é uma cidade virada completamente para o turismo. Temos cada vez menos serviços, rendas muito mais caras.
In Barcelona, Spaniards using water guns on tourists.
Hay que reducir la capacidad de alojamiento de la ciudad, recuperar casas para la gente a precios asequibles, hay que reducir la hipermovilidad.
American retirees Wanda and Bill Dorozensky ended up in the crosshairs of that protest.
It's cooling.
I just said, I hope it's water.
I did think it was kind of exciting because it was so, it was loud, but other than some water guns, it was peaceful. It wasn't threatening from my perspective.
Thank you. Hurry, sweetheart.
The couple was on a cruise celebrating Bill's 80th birthday when they docked in Barcelona for the day.
Did you know what they were protesting at the time, or was it until after that you found out?
I suspected that it was anti-tourism, and one of the big banners that was coming down the street was a cruise ship broken in half.
Has it changed y'all's perspective about how you guys approach the places that you visit?
Like I say, my perspective changed when I realized these people were asking help either from other citizens or their country to help them be able to live in their cities.
Some governments are taking action.
We're seeing crackdowns on short-term rentals. You're starting to see ticketed entries, timed entries, even fees for entries. You're seeing some really interesting developments like Galapagos, which has a $200 fee for tourists. That's going to fund the local community, combat pollution, and deal with overcrowding.
Other places going a different route.
People conducting surveys that actually spoke English gave us a survey about over-tourism in Japan.
Colton says during his time in Japan, he noticed campaigns encouraging tourists to visit lesser-known spots elsewhere in the country.
Japanese tourism is trying to encourage people to go outside of Kyoto.
Every time people go to Japan, they take, I think it's called like the Golden Route, where they go to Tokyo, Tokyo, Kyoto, and Osaka, and then those are just the 3 cities. But there's so many different cities in Japan that are just so beautiful, especially if like you go north to like Hokkaido and you visit like the cities up there, and like it's just like especially during like in the seasonal time of like winter, they have like a lot of snowboarding and skiing and stuff like that. That's one thing I regret, is not going up there and learning about the different cultures of different like cities and stuff like that.
And that was kind of my experience. It's really cool, man. There's so much fresh air. Kind of got to walk around the Samurai Trail, stop at like local tea houses, and really explore like kind of rural Japan. And I think my generation, Gen Z, we spend so much time scrolling TikTok, Instagram, and I think that's kind of helped a lot with opening up this whole world. And social media has really led to a lot more people traveling at a young age.
Those places that are so busy, they lose a lot of personality. They lose a lot of connection.
Family travel blogger Mireille Torelier crisscrosses the globe with her husband Roger and their 2 young daughters.
We went to Bali, then Singapore, then Turkey, then Italy. Then we moved to live in Tuscany for 3 months, and then we migrated to Spain.
Tuscany for 3 months? I want to live in Tuscany for 3 months. What the fuck does this guy do?
To France, we've been to Andorra, we've been to Japan, we've been to Morocco.
The family building its following on social media by showcasing alternative ways to visit hotspots.
What's your approach as a traveler?
Be rich. that's the way.
To be able to go and see these places that are super crowded, but still make sure that it's enjoyable for you and your family.
When I plan a trip, I'm always looking at what's around there, right? ChatGPT, Google, like all the AIs. I don't think the solution is don't go to Rome, you know? It's just maybe stay half an hour outside of Rome in a little fisherman town and do 1-day trip to Rome.
Mireille says she tries to be mindful of local culture when traveling.
How do
As
you
you
guys
should.
prepare to
As
enter
you should.
foreign environments in a way that when you are tourists, you guys are being respectful and you're engaging with the customs and cultures?
We prep the whole family, so we take local language classes, and
Nice.
we actually learn about culture. We get
Oh,
books,
yeah.
so nighttime books instead of a regular book become up.
Exactly. It's exactly what you should do. Like, do your research before you go somewhere and learn about them. It's going to make it that much more enjoyable because then you know what the fuck you're looking at and talking about and just experiencing the different food, the different, I don't know, wine or whatever it is. You just know what you're getting yourself into.
About the place we're gonna go visit. When Alaska landed in Japan, she already knew how to say, you know, arigato gozaimasu and dorishimashite, so hello, you know, thank you and you're welcome. It makes an automatic connection, and it's such a small investment of time to look up cultural differences, customs that are unique to that place.
I think the protests have achieved their number one goal, which was to highlight the issues that locals are dealing with. I will say you have to be careful you don't shoot the goose that laid the golden egg. There's a lot of good that comes from tourism too.
All right.